Hey guys, it's me, DapperPaperBag, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different to my usual content. Today I actually wanted to talk about depression, and specifically my depression. I guess you could call it my depression story or whatever. And yeah, it's something that I've blogged about, but I haven't really spoke about in my videos, mainly because I don't speak in my videos. And I feel like it's something that needs to be addressed, and I feel like I just want to help people. If it makes someone feel a bit better, then why not? So my story starts off pretty fucking sad, actually. It's not as sad as some people's, but it's it's up there. um, I was actually born an only child, and I was born into a single parent household. My mum, who is a hero, she's a hero of mine, and I love my mum. She raised me by herself. She was like 22. My dad was an asshole, and basically um, left my mum before I was even born. And my mum was left to struggle. My grandparents helped her and stuff. And unfortunately, my father was 6'4", and my mum was only about five. She's about 5'4.5" or something like that. She's really short, but she has like something wrong with her back that causes her. It's something to do with her back. She would actually been taller. She would have been 5'7", which is technically classed as a tall for a girl in the UK. Anyway, a lot of my family are kind of tall, but they're not as tall as me. And so, as a child, I tend to look older than what I was. So, I was taller than all of the kids at my school at one point. And I was the tallest in my year always, which was really annoying. And to put it this way, at 10 years old, I was 5'5". And that's like the size of like your average adult. And that's just a regular size for a woman. So that puts it into perspective for you. And basically, I got bullied for being tall. I've always been self conscious about my height, and not really up until now has it kind of eased off. Now I just tend not to really give a shit, but it's still something that's kind of bothered me as a teenager. It doesn't really bother me as much now. But yeah, as a teenager, the bullying that I received in primary was nothing in comparison to the bullying that I actually received as a teen. And as I hit puberty, it got worse. And there was actually two sets of bullies in my high school. There was like the chavs that no one really listened to or cared about. I wasn't really arsed about what they were saying because they were talking through their arse. And there was a certain group of people that, listened to like the similar kind of music as me. And like this dumb bitch, like, she thought this is right. I'm gonna have to like, I've jumped too far ahead. I'm gonna have to explain. I used to be friends with this girl in high school, and she was so horrible. Um, she thought I was copying her, which, like, I did like her style when I first met her, and I just really wanted to fit in. But, like, my intention wasn't to copy her at all. And as, like, both of us were starting to turn alternative, because I had just gotten into Green Day and, like, My Chemical Romance and, all that gubbins. And, like, I started to change my hair, I started to change my clothes. But this bitch was like bullying me beforehand, so it wasn't because I changed like my hair or clothes, it was just the fact that she was envious of me because I was tall and skinny and she was short and skinny, and she was blatantly jealous. And like her and her friends used to, pick on me, and she they would pick on me in school. They would like say like just bitch about me constantly, and they would pick on me online. And they like I can remember just like what it was over something so stupid. Like I had just seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show on ITV. I didn't even know that she liked that because at this point I didn't really give a flying fuck about her. Didn't speak to her. Didn't take anything to do with her. And like she was just like, oh, like this is like my favorite movie. How can you like it? Blah 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 blah. And like all of her friends just started like hating on me for like the dumbest of reasons. And like looking back on it now, it is just really stupid that I let it get to me. But I was just so upset. I hated my life. I hated people. I hated everyone because like some of my friends even hung about with them, and like they could clearly see what was happening, and they did nothing about it. And I was actually at the point where like I was going through puberty, and my hormones were like off the rocket. It was like legit. My mum describes it as like me having this massive black cloud over me, and like I would probably say that I was most likely insane at that point. Um, I actually wanted to die. I was wishing that people around me would die and that I would die. And this actually stopped after puberty, and it was a horrible, horrible period, and I still regret it to this day. Like, it still makes me feel awful that I had those thoughts. And it just really pisses me off that I let someone push me to that point because it was the fact that I was getting bullied at school. I had the stress of like exams. I couldn't concentrate on my exams because of the bullying that was happening in school. And it was just making me feel worse. I felt useless. I hated myself. And so I started self harming. And I'm not going to go into detail on what I did because I don't want to glamorize it. It's not a glamorous thing. It should never be glamorized. It's actually something that is really hard to deal with. And my mum, like, she powered through it. She knew about it, and she took me to the doctor because she was really worried about me. And the doctor, I would tell the what would happen was I would go to the doctor and I would just tell her everything that I was feeling, and like she would just sit and listen, and she wouldn't like talk back to me or anything. She would just like ask me questions, and I would just talk and talk and talk and talk, and I would feel better. And um, sorry, I'm trying not to cry. Um, she then said that she thinks I should be referred to a psychiatrist, which at the time, being a stupid teenager, like I wasn't completely sure what they were gonna do with me. And so I was paranoid that they were gonna lock me away. And so I just declined. I was like, nope, it's fine. I'll deal with it on my own, kind of thing. Which you should never do. Don't ever do that. If you are ever offered help, you should never decline it. And you should always take that help. And I kind of wish that I had because I probably wouldn't have been as messed up as I am today. But I didn't, and that's something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. And yeah, basically, I guess it was in my final year that things actually started to look up, as it were. Basically, the girl who was bullying me, she left in fifth year. For those who are American, we have a completely different education system to you. So we actually have um, nursery, which is kind of like preschool, and then we have primary school, which is you attend from like 5 to until you're 12 years old, and then from 12 until 16, you can attend high school, and then you can do high school for a further 2 years. I wanted to leave when I was 16, but my mum said, no, get your studies done, get your grades, and then you'll have something to fall back on. So I stayed on until I was 18 in high school. And it was actually nice that that girl finally left, because I had a year where I was just basically allowed to kind of chill and breathe, and like I can remember it just being a big relief when I found out that she wasn't coming back. And I was just like, thank God. I could actually, enjoy, say enjoy. Still didn't like high school. I just think it's such a bad idea. Whose bright idea is it to put a bunch of teenagers who are hormonal under the pressure of exams into like the same building as each other? It's fucking crazy. Um. Anyway, so I guess like I wasn't as depressed. I was actually managing to cope with my workload and everything. And I guess things started to get better. And then I left school, and I was like, shit, due to all of this stuff happening, I have no idea what I want to do in my life. And I just kind of worked part time until I figured out what I wanted to do. And I then decided, it was just by chance, like, I was actually going through a really, really bad breakup, and I was looking at college applications, and I was just like, you know what? There's one for TV here. That seems pretty cool. Like, you know, sounds interesting. And I was just like, it would be pretty cool to be, a TV or film director. It was something I'd always like stuck in the back of my mind, even as a teen. Be like, it'd be so cool to work in films. And basically, I got accepted, and the rest is history. I worked from all the way through college, and now I'm at university. And I'm in my final year of university, which is absolutely terrifying. And I will be leaving with a degree in television, a BA Honours in television, I should also add. But due to what I went through, I still actually get affected by depression and self harming today. I I still get like my mood swings of where it's like, oh, I hate myself and I just want to kill myself. Um, the way that I can describe, actually, one of my friends, Mimongu Gaming, who you guys have probably heard me talk about, he actually describes depression perfectly. It is like walking through a vat of treacle. Like, no matter how hard you power through, it's like it's always going to be there and try and drag you down and slow you down. But you just need to keep powering on. And that is basically what I did. And I still, even under like intense pressure, I still feel the need to self harm. And I fight that. I fight it as hard as possible. And the way that I actually do fight it is I distract myself. I play video games. And even as a teen, like, I would write stories, I would listen to music. Music is actually a good factor that helped me a lot. And I guess you could say that beating up pedestrians in GTA San Andreas did help. Um, but even now, like, something like Overwatch or The Sims or, anything that is creative, like, helps me. Because naturally, I'm a creative person. I'm not academic in the slightest. But I mean, maybe if like people had left me alone in school, I might have been. But I'm more of an artsy person. I'm better at like doing things rather than writing about doing things. So yeah. But due to what I went through, like I'm still like super shy. I am I guess, awkward. I get nervous when like dealing with situations because I'm scared in case like I hurt people. I like I just worry a lot, and I get nervous in new social situations. So if like there's people that I don't really know, they're there, like I am sitting there nervous because I feel like people are going to hate me and treat me like I was treated in high school, which is stupid because like we're all adults now, and it's mainly adults or young adults, I should say, that I'm around, and yeah, like I guess the point of the video that I wanted to say was like you're not alone. Like you feel like you're alone, but you're not. And if you want to come to me and talk about it, I'm more than happy to listen and help you. But like I would definitely recommend you like going to a charity. You know, you can like hit up Google and like look into like Samaritans and just charities that actually help people deal with depression and self-harming, because there's a lot of help. Or even just go to your GP like what my mum did with me. It does help. Having someone there who understands what you're going through does help. And I regret some of the decisions that I've made in my life, and I would hate to see someone else make the same mistakes I did. And yeah, that's all. So yeah, I do apologise for the long video. If you guys would like more videos like this, then feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. My name's DapperPaperBag, and until next time, tick tick!